Okay, everybody. It's me again. Let's see. What I want to talk about. Here's my opinion. Okay. Each state gives SSI people a certain amount. Here's my question. Why not make it all the states the same amount instead of different amounts for each state? Say, okay, California, it's $1,233.94. In Texas, it's now 994. Other places, it's different numbers. What they need to do is give the highest amount to, or have, let me put it this way, have every state change their amount to 1,233.94. That would be better. That would help people stay out of being homeless. Whereas when you go to a different state right now, depending on the state's amount, that's what you get. So if you come from California, where you got a certain, the 1,233, might as well say 1,234 because if you round it off. I mean, people are still paying higher rents. The rents are no more cheaper in Texas than they are in California. Yeah, there's certain places that are cheap, but not cheap enough. I mean, a studio like what we're in, which is just basically a room with a bathroom and a walk-in closet. That the cheapest ones, and they're upstairs, go for, well, according to to the thing, it says $9.99, but they take off like some change or something like that, like $20 or something. And the rent for the room outside the utilities here is $749 for this particular one. Now they're downstairs. It's like I think $7.99 or something like that. But the fact is, it's still not cheap enough for like what we have, because we have no balcony. We have to pay for doing our laundry, so we don't have laundry in here. Yes, it comes with a refrigerator, but it does not have a stove. It has a top thing, and I'll show you. This black thing right here is what we cook on. You know, we can't put stuff in an oven. There's no oven. Okay, I understand that, thing didn't have that much room. Studio apartments in California, I have never come across one that had a refrigerator in it. Now, the first one that we actually rented, and this is back in '89. We were paying $4.95 for it, and it had a stove in it. A small one, but it had a stove in it. And I think it had a refrigerator, or we bought one. I think we left it there though. But that was back in the day. Now those same little studios, mind you, I don't know what's in them because I haven't been in them for 30-something years, but now are over $1,000. And I don't think the utilities are included. I would have to look that up. But, and that's in Colton. That's not in Fontana or San Bernardino. And it's not cheap to live in California. So if you think it's cheap to live in California, it's not. You know, they overcharge for rent. Here they do the same thing. In a lot of places, you know, it's still overcharging this. And it's not because they want to charge that much. It's the mortgage payments they got to come up with. Especially if this thing is on a mortgage and they want to pay a high price for the mortgage. Yeah. So that's basically the reason why rents are high. You know. So I mean it goes up every year. I mean by next year these could go up to 1,000. Who knows? You know. And the less the state pays, you know, people can't rent a place. You know, especially if they have to pay utilities too. So they don't have enough to make they either pay the rent or the utilities, and if they don't pay the rent, they don't have a place. If they don't pay their utilities, then you know it all gets shut off, and you're in the dark. You know, here it's a little right now. It's okay, but once my check turns is put on Texas, it'll be 9.94, and it's bullshit. Plain and simple, it's bullshit. People can't live on that. They expect people on SSI to pay rent, and then, like I said, most places they don't pay the utilities. This one, it's that's the 220 that goes into with the rent. That's why we're actually paying 900 and something because we're also paying the utilities. Now there are some places that pay the utilities. The last place we lived in California, they paid all the utilities and had free Wi-Fi. So, you know, but that was a different situation. And I like the style of that one better, by the way. And the main reason for getting out of there is because mold under the sink, but, you know, we never had somebody come out and test it, so I don't know if it was mold or just dirt. But, you know, I gotta go where he goes. You know, I want to go back to California. I didn't want to come here. The only reason I actually agreed to it is because of my granddaughter and my son. You know, and I don't mind helping them out, but you know, the help's going to end up having to stop because I can't keep doing this. I can't, you know, I have to get everything back on track because I got to get medical. The glasses I got from Walmart, I can barely see out of them. You know, and they must have messed up on the prescription. I think the doctor did, writing it down. Because, you know, I have farsightedness, but I also need, see, like on these glasses, they have the little window, which is like a, I don't know, sorry for the dirt on there, but they have, you know, the bottom ones, you know, in a different thing. And they should have I should have told them, well, if you can read the prescription off of these, then use that for the prescription, but I don't know if they can. But, you know, but I'm stuck with those glasses now. So, you know, I'm going to have to get Medicaid because I'm a year too young for uh, Medicare. Not that that would be any better because they take out of your check, which I won't have much, but, you know, it all boils down to one thing. They need to start thinking about the people you know, yeah, I can walk and all that stuff, but I do it with extreme pain. I mean, I'm just now being able to walk around my knee the way it is. Sometimes it hurts a lot, and sometimes it just hurts somewhat. So right now, it's not cold enough for it to really hurt, but I mean, I have a curved back. I mean, not that my back's curved, I have a curved disc, and that's what's pressing on the nerves of my back. So that's why I have back pain, you know. But I have to keep going, and I may have to just end up getting a job to go along with, you know, what my check's going to be. And I stopped my California food stamps because I get the Texas ones now, so I stopped those. And so I only have 275 a month in food stamps. And right now, my significant other has been put in for food stamps. I don't know if that's going to mess mine up or not, but we shall see. Uh, I gotta send all the stuff in there. The Texas benefit website don't work. So kudos to the Cal Fresh website that does work. They need to take a lesson from them and learn how to make a website that works. You there is no place cheap to live anymore. It's ridiculous. And I know some of you are going to say, well, what do you want it for? Why do you need it? Well, I am disabled. I do have a cane, by the way, that I do use. Let me show you if I can find it. Not yet, but I know I have my cane around here somewhere. I don't know what. Oh, it's right here. Right by the umbrella. See, I do have a cane. And when I need it, I use it. So, that's part of my disability. You know, my significant other, and we're not legally, there's no marriage license on file, nor will there ever be. Um, he is not just because he's dyslexic and he can't read or write, but he has seizures. And when he worries, he has seizures a lot more than he does. And a lot of people don't understand. Well, you look like you could work. No, he can't. Not with the seizures. He's not allowed to drive a car. He's not allowed to work. So, I don't understand why when you move states you have to change the amount. That's ridiculous. Because you still got to pay, for everything. And you can barely make it on what California gives you when you live there. You think people can live on $1,233 a month? No, they can't. And here, we've got to pay insurance. If that insurance drops, and I don't know how they tell unless, they look, you know, even though it's pretty cheap, it's only $23. Still, that's $23 taken out of my check for stuff. I don't have anything that's important that. And now what I'm worried about is, am I going to be able to pay for the phones I have? Am I going to, well, the phone I have, this is my Obama phone, so me, I, you know, you know, I can use this one, but my spouse cannot use a regular telephone like this. He has to have a flip phone. So I don't know if you can go to where it's free or not, because you're only allowed, and this is a dumb rule too, that if you get a government phone, only one person in the household is allowed to get one. That's ridiculous, because there's more than one person in the household. What about roommates that are, both need phones? But I don't know what's going to happen, if we're going to be able to stay here or not. Might have to find another cheap place, and I don't know if there's any cheaper ones here, because, I haven't been nowhere, but, we'll see come next month how we can deal with it. Because I should be getting a letter from Social Security about my checks going down to $9.94. It's just it's a hassle, and you know, you think, yeah, we get free money. It's not really that free, because we're struggling, and I mean we're struggling. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Do I miss working? I miss working. I can't be in-home care provider anymore, because I can't lift people up anymore. But I mean, I used to be able to work fast food. I did that for 8 years. But because of me not providing the right Social Security number, because I thought mine started as, with 1-5, and, you know, that, but it wasn't. It was 2 5s, and I'm not going to post mine online where scammers can find it. But that was my mess up. I should have paid attention when I was writing the applications every time I filled one out for a different food place. But like I said, people are struggling. And there's a reason why people don't like President Trump. And, and the people that do support him are the ones that are lucky enough to have gone through high school and through college. There's not a poor person amongst them. And that's what gets me. I blame everything on, you blame everything on the Democrats, and not just Democrats. It's the whole administration that gets involved, especially Congress. And if you are as old as me, and everything about how Congress works and that stuff. But, I'm not saying that it's all right to down people, but a man in office is not doing his job properly either. He's so worried about building stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope everybody has a good day, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe if you want to. Where the subscription thing is, somewhere down there. Anyway, bye. Have a good day.